When a loved one is stricken with a terminal illness, families must decide what would be best to care for that person. Should they keep looking for new medicines, new treatment options to try to prolong that person's life? Or at a certain point, would it be best to cherish the loved ones for their remaining time left on this earth, to keep those simple moments, those memories of times past close to their hearts, and to accept death as a part of life? Hospice care helps guide families and friends to learn how to handle the inevitable and to accept that now might be the time to say goodbye to the person they love. As Cheryl Allen, patient care manager and nurse at Havens Hospice, believes, it is one of our greatest moments in life when we realize that it will be okay to die, that this is a part of everyone's life and it should be treated as a celebration.
I think that after a while, we all know that there's a time to live and there's a time to die. And, it's human nature. It's part of everybody. And I think that it can happen in a much more beautiful way, so to speak. I mean, it really can happen in a much more comfortable way, comfortable for the patient, comfortable for the family.
For the past 7 years, Allen has worked at Haven Hospice to try and teach her patients and their families that they can pass away with compassion, that it doesn't have to be a terrifying or painful experience. She encourages the people she meets at Haven's Hospice to hold on to memories of a passing loved one, because in the end, memories are all that will remain.
Paperback novel, the kind that drugstore sells. With a heartache on the hero.
One of the lives touched by Haven Hospice is John Shert, whose wife Debbie passed away 2 years ago from Lou Gehrig's disease, a terminal illness that damages and destroys motor neurons and nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. Shert says the memories of his past wife encourage him to live his life with compassion.
Debbie was my coach and best friend, and she was the most extraordinary person I've ever met. She was the kindest person I ever met. I'm kind of a quirky guy, and I do lots of stupid things, and I'm very impulsive. And any success that I've had professionally in the last 20 years is totally due to Debbie Harris.
When Shert married Debbie, he believed he had won the lottery, that life was finally complete. But 16 years later, her diagnosis of Lou Gehrig's disease seemed to take that all away. Shert says it felt like he was losing a part of himself, but he strove to help Debbie face her illness.
This one friend of mine wrote me this note. He said, "John, don't resist. Don't resist." And then a real formative, really powerful moment was I was watching Charlie Rose one night, and this guy Guillermo del Toro was on, and then he talked about that when something terrible, terrible comes into your life, try to see the gift in it. And so I played that interview for Debbie, I said, how do we find the gift in this? And Debbie, wrote, we must be present with each other and try to, live every moment fully. And so I tried to look on this as a gift and to embrace it and to be fully present.
Shert's ability to transform what was a tragic situation into a tender gift is what hospice nurses like Allen can only hope for with their patients. When a person is nearing the end of life, Allen believes the best thing family and friends can do is to accept the situation and to cherish the remaining time with that person.
They've been through the aggressive treatment. They know where they stand, and they know that it's difficult, but they know that there's no cure. We all hope that we have that person one more day. It's sad to see them with such an internal struggle. The way I kind of say it is no matter what, it's going to happen. And there's two different ways it can end. You can stay here with them, hold their hand, tell them you love them, lay up beside them, whatever you need to do. Just be there with them until they take their last breath. Or we can put them in an ambulance and send them back to the hospital. And it's going to happen either way.
For Shert, the decision to place his wife in hospice care was a challenge because he wasn't yet able to accept what would happen. But he soon realized that hospice care would allow him to still be close to Debbie while also letting go.
She saw that I really couldn't handle it anymore by myself. And, I'm just so thankful that hospice was there and that they allowed her to stay there 60 days. And they let us put up all kinds of huge poster prints in her room of Debbie throughout her life, big 3-foot by 4-foot photos of her. And because she didn't look like herself at all, it was just amazing to kind of let go and let other people step up and help, and in all kinds of ways. And it was very humbling. It's a wonderful and terrible story.
Just like an old time movie, I go from the ocean away.
When caring for patients who are not going to get better, it would seem almost impossible to keep going into work every day. For Alan, though, it is because her patients are going to pass away that she works harder to help them figure out what they want from life and to fulfill their last wishes.
I guess it's just to help people to get to that point, to find out what they want and to make it happen for them. Sometimes when people are going through, especially your cancer patients more, there's always one more thing. They get a different path that they go down. And there comes a time that there's not one more thing. And I like to be able to sit down with them and say, okay, Stephanie, let's forget about the disease today. What does Stephanie want to do as a mom, a sister, whatever? What's important to you? And try to make it happen.
Finding out what a patient wants and needs to find inner peace within themselves and face death gives meaning to Alan's life. She says it doesn't matter what that wish might be, that she will do whatever she can to bring final happiness and closure to her patients.
We had a man who came to us, and he was an Indian. The day he came here, we have a back garden, but he said, I want to die under these trees. That morning, he was very close, and we took him, bed and all, out on the back porch under the trees. And we had a volunteer who was here at that time, and she knew him. And she came over and she put sunflowers on his pillow. And when he was in his room, his color was really dark, and he was cool to touch. And when we took him out there, he warmed up, and he was pink, and he lived about 40 minutes. But he died under the trees. And I think that he knew he was there. And so, those are just things that just make you feel good.
While hospice can help ease the pain and sadness of losing a loved one for families and friends, it also provides the nurses like Alan with a new meaning of life, that every moment is a gift, every breath a celebration.
It really makes me pay attention to what good can I do today? And, today I might not have that opportunity to see that person again, Sometimes it makes you feel that it's all around you, that you just pay attention to things more importantly, every bit of it, from driving home to, it could be anything. You don't want things undone, I guess. But yeah, it does make you pay attention to today, because none of these people, a lot of them, weren't expecting to be here.
Life is full of questions, of obstacles to overcome, of memories, good and bad, and the only thing we know for sure is that one day we will pass away. As Alan and Sherritt believe, people must find what makes them happy and learn how to treat each struggle as an opportunity, a gift. Because of the help from hospice and the ability to find the good in a bad situation, Sherritt is now able to fully appreciate his life and to continue to find new joys every day.
I got a great kid. I got a great, life. I had a wonderful wife. I had 16 years with just a wonderful person. And bad things happen to nice people. And when tragedy invades your life, you just, try to embrace it as best you can and let other people know that you need help.
Finding this inner peace and learning to accept death as a natural and beautiful part of life is what Alan strives to accomplish with every person she takes care of. For hospice, she believes the next step is to help the public find out what their wishes are, what they hope to accomplish in this life, and to celebrate the cycle of life and death. For Florida's 89.1 WUFT-FM, I'm Stephanie DiNardo in Gainesville.